Good everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. So today I'm going to talk about an important principle violation, that is a violation of an open close principle. Now you must be wondering what the heck it is open close principle, right? Um, so open close principle is one of the principles associated with the solid principle, which means that a class should only be can only be extended, but you can't modify it, right? Class should only be used for extension or should not be open for modification, right? So that's the very simple terms. Now, this is not a problem associated only with Apex, but you can find this issue with C Sharp, with the Java code, with the Python code, C++ code. I've seen this problem across different technologies, right? Now, you must be wondering, why should I care, right? I mean, like, for instance, I look at this method here, right? So look at this simple method here where we got a worker class, right? And we got a method called calculate salary. You might be looking at it and say, okay, this is a pretty simple method, right? Why should be a problem, right? What's an issue with this? Okay. I mean, if you look at only from this perspective, I mean, there's not much an issue, which is fine. But imagine, right, if your code base is bigger, right, and you have to use this method in a different place and you wanted to do other stuff to this method, and you have, right, let's say 20 to 30 developers working on a single org, like an enterprise level org, then there is an issue using this kind of approach. I've used this, to be honest, this kind of coding, not in Apex, but in other language. And I knew that the pain of, when things started to break and it's very hard to debug, and left to wonder what the heck is going on, why you're getting an intermittent issues in the client place, why it's not happening to other customer, why it's happening to XYZ customers. So yeah, it's really painful, right? It costs a lot of time and money, right? So keeping that knowledge in, you might be wondering, right, why I always talk about the money. The reason why I talk about the money, code is the money. Okay, a company invests in you for writing a code. That's an asset for a company, right? You're creating an asset for an organization, right? So assets should be of a good quality. So in case of a software development, your code is an asset for a company, for a founder, right? So it's very important, right? You understand that, right? Your mistake can cost the company a lot of money. Okay, so that's the reason why I often emphasize, on writing a better quality code. It's okay if you're starting out for the first time. So that's one of the reasons why I always suggest read the design pattern book first, right? There is a Java, design pattern books out there. So it's important you understand the real object-oriented concept, before you start writing a code, right? Otherwise, you're defeating the whole purpose. Writing a procedural code in an object-oriented language, that doesn't make any sense, right? So, okay, so sorry I digress. So let's jump into this problem what we have. So this looks like a pretty decent code. Okay, now because we have to calculate the salary, the worker class is a simple class which does one thing. Let's say you might have other method as well, which is we are not interested at this point of time. So this calculate the salary, like if you're first of all, there is a problem in the method itself, right? Contact type. Okay, so you see the magical string I talked about, right? So there we are using a magical string, which is a buggy, first of all, right? Which is not a good practice. The second thing, right? According to an open close principle, a class should only be can only be open for extension, but should be closed for modification. Okay. Now let's say you have a requirement, right? You have a casual, permanent. For whatever bizarre reason, you have to calculate a salary of, say, include a non-profit. You must be thinking, right? This guy gone us crazy. What are you talking about? I'm just saying, for timing, assume you have to say, let's say, if a contract type is a non-profit, so let's say you will work for free. Okay, so the return should be zero. Okay, calculate salary. There is no salary for non-profit. Okay, but you have to add the condition as well. Okay, now, so what are you going to do? So you will say, okay, that's pretty great. So you can say else if contact type, usual problem with every programming language, non-profit. I hope you can relate, right? When we're looking at this code, you can say, I relate, this is 0, right? Because now you see a problem here. You have modified the code, okay? Now, you must be thinking, oh, what's so big deal about modifying, right? It's just an if and else. Yeah, it's not a problem for this kind of a code, but imagine you have a massive, complicated, logic or massive algorithm, which is, someone has wrote a massive, complex algorithm, right? And tweaking that part of a code can cause, code breakage, right? And you have to invest a lot of time in testing, and you have to change your unit test, and so which is not a good practice in my opinion, because it is not a productive way to spend your time if you're a programmer, right? To trying to fix someone else's code which is broken. Okay, I mean that obviously programmers do, but why to break the code at first place, right? When you can write in an efficient way. Okay, now you must be thinking, okay, so what's the better way? Okay, so you can use something using interfaces, right? So if you are getting confused with interfaces, I strongly encourage you to study interfaces, it is very important. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen interfaces used across Apex. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be using interfaces, right? Interfaces, is important. You code to an abstraction. You don't code to implementations. Okay, so now how to fix this? Okay, because I've been ranting for like 10 minutes. You must be thinking this guy is going on, right? Sorry about that. Okay, so let me deploy the source. Okay, and let's see if we can run this code first of all to test it, right? Because I always wanted to test it before we change, and to imitate the similar behavior. So let me see if I saved it. Okay, let me save it and deploy the source to an org. All right, the problem number 1. Let's do the problem number 1. Okay, I don't care. Okay, so I don't care about this one. Okay, so you're gonna work a class. So calculate salary, right? And you can do right. So that's how I'm interested to know perm. Okay. All right. So the reason why I started the Salesforce YouTube channel, just mostly for New Zealand users. That's the reason why I started it. Just to train Kiwis to get excited about the Salesforce, right? Because I've seen that there are a lot of amazing channel, a lot of amazing work people in India does. In Australia, there's great people, great content. There's amazing content out there. There's none in New Zealand. I was just like, I thought, yeah, I might as well start. Why not? As if I can help someone, right? That's the main point. So, okay, so, so we got, so we're gonna see debug. So 3,000, right? Which is great because obviously, the calculation is doing what it was supposed to do. Okay, now you must be thinking, oh, this is fantastic, right? Yeah, this is great. Now, what if someone do a typo here, right, in the code? Can't happen. Yeah. Right, 0, which is not correct. So a permanent employee getting paid $0. Imagine if it's a payroll system, right? If someone did a freaking typo and you got paid $0, how do you feel about that, right? So this is the implication of having a magical string, right? You must be thinking, oh, we won't do mistakes. Mistake happens. Trust me, we are not machines, right? We humans do make mistakes. We get tired at times. We end up in doing a typo. It happens, right? So implication, right? Or imagine a banking software you work with, right? Someone program in an inefficient way. You transfer $3,000 and another person received $3 because of the calculation, right? That would be disaster. You're gonna make a hell of a scene, right? Oh, what the heck happened to my money? I transferred $3,000 and another person got $3. Well, my apologies. We got a bug in the software. You won't accept that apology, right? Because he said, I want my money back. So, so that's why I say code is important. Code is an asset. Think about it from that perspective. You're building an asset for someone. You're working for someone. You're building an asset for someone. Okay, so that's why it's important to have that mindset, right? Just don't write it because he's saying it's my 9 to 5 job. That's just a freaking BS excuse, right? I personally don't like to hire such people, right? All right, if you wanted to do that, go and work for someone else, right? It's because I don't want to have a resource, who, at the same time, I do understand that companies do need to treat the resource right. It goes both ways, right? So, okay, now how do we fix it? Okay, so, right, this is a crap, right? This is a messy code. So let's build a constant first. Okay, so we say contact. Okay, const. Oh, sorry. You can say cont. Okay, so you can say I'm showing a way to fix it, right? Public static. If you ever encounter this kind of code, it's always it's a great opportunity. Consider it's a privilege that you're getting a chance to fix it, right? Don't think it as an overhead. It's a privilege, right? You're making a code better. You're making a code base better. So consider that you're doing an amazing work. It's an honor that you're getting an opportunity to fix it. So, okay, just say casual. So I can say casual. Okay, so just do this. And it's going to do public static final string perm. I talked about why magical strings are bad. If you haven't watched that video, I would highly encourage you to check it out. So I'll put the link in the description below. Add the I button as well, whatever that is. Static final string. Non-profit. Okay, so you're going to do copy this, right? Now, oh, sorry. I was wondering what the heck. Okay, now copy it and I'm going to save it, right? Just taking a while. It's on sweet time. Okay, while it saves. Okay, it's saved. That's great. Now, just going to do dot m. So we will use this constant and also okay, permanent and oh, come on, looks messy, right? This is not a great code, but it's just a one way to tidy up. So I'm showing you how to tidy up a code, right? All right. So now, so this is okay. But still not right because we talked about magical strings, right? But what about the magical numbers? Okay, so we got a magical numbers as well. Okay, so we're gonna do here. Okay, so we're gonna do public. Oh yeah, public static final integer. 30 hours. Whatever, right? 30 hours. Just gonna do this. Okay, just come on. It's gonna do 40 hours. The thing is that it gets readable, right? Or you can just put the 40 hours as 40 hours. Okay. So this is, let me save this, let me deploy it. Okay, so this is great, cool. Now, so we're gonna do dot 30 hours, right? Also, we gotta do 40 hours, right? And now this 80 and 75, what the heck that is, right? You must be wondering. Okay, so we're gonna do public static final integer casual, okay, casual rate, that is 80, yeah, and just gonna do perm rate. Okay, so perm rate, so which is 75, which is great. So it's gonna, okay, so deploy the source to work. So this is great. So okay, that's great. Now we're gonna go back to this, and I don't like this one, so I'm gonna do contact, yeah, constant dot casual. This is gonna do casual rate, and this is gonna be a contact constant or permanent rate. Yeah. Okay. Let me save, and let's do. Fantastic, right? Now, this part of the now our job is not done yet. Okay, so we have to do more stuff because this still violates open close principle. Yeah. So what I've done right now is just to remove the magical constants and magical strings and magical numbers. Right. So that's the first thing. That's the first step to tidy up the code. Okay. So, but like I said, it still violates the open close principles. Right. So it's not done yet. So, but this is more readable and it is less prone to bug like this. Okay. So insert, you can always do this. So where is it? So you can do contact type. So all you have to do this. Where are you calling this for testing? You can obviously use the constant, and it will. Okay. So right, come on. So it will. Ah, man, that's just annoying. Right. Okay, so this is pretty cool, right? So there is no typos and there is no error in terms of whatever you type, right? So because you are using a constant, okay, so which will be very useful in terms of reusing at other places as well. Okay, so this is one of the things where you can go and tidy up the code because like I said, I'm not a big fan of magical strings and numbers, and I've talked about why it is bad, and I've demonstrated why it is bad. So if you still think you wanted to use this, that's your choice, right? But if you work with me, I can guarantee you that your code will not go to production. It will not pass the code review because I'm not a fan of releasing a software to a customer you know with the knowledge that okay, this is gonna be going to be a shitty code, right? So I can't do that. But if you are not aware of it, that's a different story, right? So okay, so how do we fix this mess? Okay, all right, so let's start fixing a mess. So we talk about the payment. So this is all to do with the payment, right? So what we do, we're gonna talk about creating a payment interface. So we just say payment. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. So I'm gonna say IPayment, yeah, and so public interface. Oh man, interface. And we're gonna do integer. What's this called? Okay, calculate salary. Yeah, we can do this. Fantastic. And let's see if we can push the code. All right, that's great. Now, what we're going to do, we will create a class which implement this interface. So we're going to do casual worker. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is. So we're going to do implements, whatever this one. And it's going to do public integer calculate salary. So since we're dealing with casual worker, right? So obviously, so we're going to do return. Go to this class here. So this is a casual rate. So just going to do return this, copy this one. Now, where is it? Okay, so that's great. Now we're just going to do deploy the source.org. Okay, that's great. Now we have to deal with perms and as well as non-profit, right? So we're gonna have to do another. So create an Apex class. So we're gonna do perm worker. Yeah. So just gonna do this. So we just do implements. This is great. Implements IPayment. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay, IPayment. So we go here. I'll just copy this one for now. Yeah. I will change the body. So I'm just going to do this. And I'll go here. And I'll copy this. Right. And where is it? This is not a sign. So this is great. And I will save it. Okay. Now we have to do for non-profit as well. Okay, so we got an error here because it has to return. So that's why. Okay, so that's great. Now let's worry about the non-profit. So we're going to do create an Apex class. And it's a non-prof worker. Right, so non-profit worker. So we just do implements IPayment. Right, so what we do we will. I'm just going to copy this one. Okay, and okay, now we got a problem here. So we got one more magical numbers left, so 0. So what we do, so we go to this contact class. I'm going to do public static final integer 0 rate, right? So we're going to do 0, okay? And you're going to do deploy the source.org. And fantastic, right? Now we're going to go here and just going to do, close it, 0 rate. This is your non-profit, right? Right. Okay. Now we created 3 classes which implements IPayment interface. Now, how do we use it, right? So that's a question. So we will just going to close this contact here. So go to worker class. I don't need any of this junk here whatsoever. So what I'll do, I'll just do IPayment. I'm just going to do IP and just going to do return. Return IP dot calculate salary. So the worker class, like I said, this is my worker class. So this is not going to violate solely principle that's open close. That is, a class should only be used for extension, not for modification. I'm never going to modify this method, okay? If I wanted to add, let's say, some other, if it's non-profit, say, let's say non-profit, uh, semi-non-profit, right? Let's say, which get paid sometimes, right? So you can use that as well using this interface, okay? So now I'm going to show you how to use that. It's pretty straightforward. Let me deploy this one more time because you don't have to worry about absolutely, and nothing about changing this method. This method is going to remain the same. Okay, so now how do we use it? Okay, let's say I wanted to get an salary of a permanent. Okay, so what we do, so we will actually go to this worker class, yeah, and dot calculate salary. This is not correct. Okay, now we are dealing with an interface. Okay, we're dealing with an interface here, so this expects an interface. Okay, so with this expects an interface. So now, as you can see that all this class, right, this casual worker, permanent worker implements the IPayment. Okay, so we are expecting an IPayment handler here. Okay, so what we can do say, let's say we're gonna do permanent. So whatever that stuff is, the permanent worker. So we do. So I'm after new perm worker. Okay, so we can do system dot debug. Okay. All right. So right. Let's see what's the rate. Oh, come on. Oh, it's just. Right. So yeah. So let's say I wanted to do a casual one, right? So we can do. We can actually go the same and capital string. So we can do new casual something. Say casual worker, right? All right. So you can do something like this, right? And come on. Okay. Right. Yeah, of course. Because I didn't put under system debug, so which is fine. Which is okay. So we can find it somewhere. All right. Let's run it again. That's fine. I mean, I don't have more to look at the log files, go through each lines. So I don't want to make this video too long. So All right, so this is pretty cool, right? Okay, now let me develop something for a nonprofit, semi-nonprofit. Okay, so let's say you got a requirement. I wanted to calculate the salary of the semi-nonprofit. So if you go by an old logic what we have built before, you're gonna have to pretty much change this class, right? Because you have to modify it. In this case, you don't even have to worry about this. You can forget it. Okay, so what we can do, so you can do Apex class. You can say semi non-profit worker. Okay, so what we do, so we just say implements. Okay, and you can say IPayment, and so we do something. So I'll just copy it. So let's say you know they get paid. Um, say they do work 40 hours, right? And but they get paid, let's say, because instead of non-profit, semi non-profit, right? They pay like $40 an hour. Okay. So what we do, so we just go here, and I'm just gonna do okay, semi non-prof rate. Yeah. So that's something like let's say $40 an hour. Okay. So that should be great, and so this is something you can do. Okay, so what we do, so we're gonna here semi non-profit, and I'm just gonna do semi non-profit. Okay, we saved it, and let me deploy it. Okay, right. Okay, and so you can go here, and I can do um, semi non-profit. Okay, so it should be, you should be saying 1600 because 40 times 40, right? So we're gonna do, right. Right. So like I said, I mean, now it complies with this whole principle. The other principles as well, like interface segregation principle, list go, you know. So it's important that you understand the whole principle because it helps you become a better programmer. Um, so I mean, if you don't want to be a programmer, that's fine. But if you are trying out for the first time in any technology, right? Not necessarily an Apex or if you're trying out, say, in a Java or even in a C sharp. So it really helps. It's going to help you in the long run. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to talk about today. So over the course of time, I will talk about CI/CD as well because it's very important. So you can build a CI/CD pipeline, and you can use the Scratch org, and you can deploy to production org using CI/CD. It's pretty cool. I mean, I can use depends what you wanted to see. If you wanted me to build using an Azure pipeline, I can do that. I have a lot of experience doing that. So or if you want to use something else, just give me a shout, right? So this is pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. So I hope you guys learned something. So I'm trying to teach you guys based on my experience, based on bad quality code written out there, and based on the implication the company faced because of the bad code, right? So if you're starting for the first time, please do not think, right, your coding is just a 9 to 5 job. It's not. Yeah, you might be working from 9 to 5 or 8:30 to whatever. If you're in New Zealand, you obviously have to work 40 hours. I think in Australia is 37 and a half, but I'm not 100% sure about Australia. But if in New Zealand you work 40 hours, unless some companies, if you're doing 37 and a half. So in during that course of time, right, you have to make sure that you write a better quality code so that you help the business because the better, if a company is making a lot of profit, right? Think about it. If a company is making a lot of profit, they can hire more resource, right? And when they can hire more resource, more people get paid, more people get employed, right? So it works like a chain, right? If you're going to write a bad code, company always going to run into loss, right? Because of the implications, intimate issues and clients getting unhappy. So obviously it will affect your job in the long run. So from that perspective, it's very important you take extreme pride in your work, right, and write a good quality code, right. It doesn't matter you're an architect, you're a technical consultant, programmer, analyst programmer, whatever terminology they use in whichever part of the world you're from, right? Right? You might be sitting in a remotest part of an Iceland, right? It doesn't matter. A code is a code, right? So, right, there's enough of ranting. So I hope you learned something today. So that being said, you guys have a great Monday. Take care.